Welcome to Fast Food Horror. This episode of our anthology is entitled Below the Below by E.J. Miller.
I hope this effing thing is recording. I only want to record this once. Not even sure I'll be here to record it a second time before I shuffle off this mortal coil. My English teacher will be mighty proud. He thought I was paying more attention to that red-headed girl in the front row, Tracy Tatco, than I was to him. But there it is, Shakespeare's Macbeth. Hear that, Mr. Wolf? A little bit of the old bard in my final hours. Let's get to this. My doctors have told me I have a few hours left, perhaps a day, maybe. Well, I have the big C, and as I said, it's my time. But before I go, I need to unburden my soul, as it were. I've been carrying around this secret, this weight for far too long, and with me dying, and them opening up that lavish bit of a lie, you need to hear what's below the below, what's under 89 East 42nd Street, and what they're hiding. My name is Thomas Moore. I've spent my life as an operator. I could drive, operate almost any piece of construction equipment there is. Crane, bulldozer, excavator, cat. I was good. I was the best. Which made me a very valuable commodity for any construction company to have. So, I've never wanted for work. I was busy. I was bringing home fat paychecks every week. Until the economy fell in 2008. Construction slowed and then stopped. It didn't matter how good I was, how precise I could operate this or that without error. No construction meant no work, which meant no money. Weeks and months went by until my boss received that phone call. Now, I won't name names, but a certain American multi-trillionaire had a job that wasn't exactly legal due to its location. You see, he was into something called ley lines. I had to Google that on the Yahoo a bunch of times before I could really understand what it was all about. I'll give you the Vegas wedding version. Ley lines are straight alignments drawn between historic structures, prehistoric sites, and prominent landmarks. The idea was developed in the 20th century Europe, with ley line believers arguing that these alignments were recognized by ancient societies that deliberately erected structures along them, for various reasons, most revolving around alien landing sites. But this certain multi-trillionaire had done his research and found an overwhelming number of these ley lines converging at one point on a map. A point, an address, located in Lower Manhattan at 89 East 42nd Street. He believed that there was something special about this site, that it held secrets and power due to the number of ley lines that crossed and intersected at one spot. Now, he had visited the spot many times, taken tours all over every room and tunnel. He found nothing. He gained no supernatural insight. He gained no extra powers. He even had his people run sonar under the building. No secret rooms. Nada. Zip. No secret tunnels. Yet he still maintained there was something special about that site, and that it must be well below the reach of sonar. Now, he tried to do it legally. He approached the property owner and both federal and state governments about drilling or tunneling underneath the location. And when he told them why, no amount of money was going to have them okay the exploration. He was undeterred, which is where we came in. He had purchased a property 2 blocks over. His plan? To tunnel from the neighboring property and then tunnel down at the precise location of the intersecting ley lines. The key being precise. Now, due to the downturned economy, my boss was not inclined to turn down the job. Months of no work, and the price he was given, let's just say it was high 7 figures. The job required street schematics. Where were the pipes, electrical lines, subway tunnels, depth of neighboring buildings and their foundations and the like. And it also required specialized equipment. We couldn't just tunnel under a few blocks of Manhattan, excavating truck after truck of dirt and debris, and expect to go unnoticed. Now, this is where I came in. An operator of all things, able to work with extreme precision. Now, Mr. Money, he furnished us with a large mobile gyrotron machine. It's a radio frequency wave generator, which can open holes in rock by vaporization or displace melted fragments through pressurization, melting the rock and sealing the walls of the tunnel in a thick, glass-like substance preventing collapse. No debris removal, no beams, no nothing. Just a clean, secure tunnel without affecting the integrity of the structures above. My cut of the money was going to set me, my children, and their children up quite nicely. We started on a Sunday, a slightly less busy day for this area. Mr. Money had the gyrotron delivered to the basement of the building he had bought. It was affixed to a cat, which was on a ramp positioned at precisely a 17-degree angle. This would be the angle of descent I would need to maintain until I reached the point of ley line intersection below 89 East 42nd Street, also bringing me to the depth at which the sonar had stopped its reading at the intersection point. When I reached the point of intersection, I would affix the gyrotron to a cable system and lower it, drilling and drilling until we found what was there, if anything. Now, I won't bore you with the minutiae of the day-to-day drilling. You see what I did there? Bore. You. It's a little, drilling humor. Sorry. Where was I? The gyrotron produced an 8-foot in diameter tunnel. We were able to make it 75 yards a day, and it took us roughly 13 days to get to the intersection point. Now, there were days we made less than 75 yards. There were days we made it more than 75 yards. It all depended on the sediment we were drilling through. The dirt and the gravel composite was quite easy to navigate. The Manhattan schist wasn't too bad. When we hit the shale, well, that slowed us up a bit. But all in all, the thing worked perfectly, reducing the gravel and debris to nothing but a melted glass-like wall around the diameter of the tunnel. We strung lights that were suspended every 3 yards, reflecting gloriously off its sheeny surface, a tunnel of electric blue, leading below the below. As I reflect on this, I'm oft reminded of that quote from Jurassic Park. You were so caught up on whether you could, you never considered if you should. On day 13, I arrived at the intersection. By this point in the drilling process, I was already wearing a respirator. The oxygen level and access to it in this length of tunnel more than half a mile long, was less than stellar. After affixing the gyrotron to the cable system, and after a few hours of the minutia and boredom of watching feet and feet of cable go down, I noticed the cable bounce, then swing from side to side, like having a fish on the line. I reported this back to everyone topside. I could hear their hoots and hollers. Without the aid of the microphone, their cheers echoed all the way down the electric blue tunnel. We had hit a pocket, a cave of some sort. I pulled the gyrotron back up, and since I was right there, I decided I'd lower myself down. It was only 40 yards or so. I could use the remote for the cable system, put 2 vice clamps on the cable for handholds, and lower myself down, take a look around, and report back. I first dropped 5 glow sticks down the hole to add some light to the cave, and waited to hear them hit the floor, hoping not to hear a splash indicating water. Each stick produced a small echo on impact, except the 5th. It sounded like it bounced off something metal, like when you'd kick a soda can off the curb. What could be metal this far from the surface? My excitement outweighed this bit of newly presented mystery. I put my phone so it peeked out of my coveralls and pressed record to take video. My miner's helmet light was on, lighting up anywhere I looked. The remote to the cable system was firmly in my left hand. I took hold of the vice clamp with my right and found a purchase with my right foot in the other clamp. And I began my descent. Further and further I went, the metal echo becoming a distant memory. I emerged into the cave in darkness. It felt like the light from my miner's helmet was being eaten up by the surrounding inky black, no matter which way I looked. I let out a hello, and as I hung suspended by the cable and heard my voice carry into what felt like an abyss that seemed to keep going, like a rock skipping across an endless plain of water, fading as it traveled from its origin. This echo, though, was different. From somewhere below me, a voice answered in a low growl, "Free us." I panicked for a moment, spinning in the air, trying to focus on the source of the voice. I turned up my light, trying to cut through the darkness, trying to find the source. "Free us." There it was again, more intent, more aggressive. The growl was intensifying, and there was menace. It wasn't asking me to free. It was ordering. I focused on the ground beneath me. The light started to cut through to the ground, to the bars, dark and worn with time, at least a foot thick, blocking a 20-foot opening under me. And behind them, a large pair of glowing red eyes. "Free us." It roared again. This time many more voices joined his, screaming and yelling. Hundreds of pairs of smaller red eyes dotted the darkscape behind him, all now rushing the bars of the cage as the cave shook. I smashed the button to go up and retreated to the safety of the surface, reciting every prayer my mind could recall. A chorus of "Free us!" and screams followed me up the hole as the cave trembled and shook. I can still hear them in my nightmares. I made it up the tunnel to the team. They were shaken and scared, embracing me as I raced out of the tunnel. They too had felt the tremors and heard the screams. I relayed in detail what I had found, as I have just done here. During my retelling, Mr. Money turned white with a recounting of the events and mumbled, "The gates of hell," before dismissing us and stopping any further activity at the site. We have had zero communication from Mr. Money since being dismissed. The checks cleared, and 2 months later, construction started at 89 East 42nd Street. Well, under it at least, where they have built a new Grand Central Station, putting a huge cap over the tunnel and the gate. Oh, you could write this off as the ramblings of an old man looking for his last bit of attention. But I have a card I have yet to play. I recorded my descent. I have audio proof. Most of the audio is degraded over the years. But here is a segment to put some starch in your collar.